ours is a crazy place in oh so many ways. Let's try to make some sense of it on Spiritfolk Saturdays.
Welcome to the weekly filling and tent-based podcast, Spiritfolk Saturdays. Today we're here to talk about a bunch of stuff because we haven't had a proper podcast in 3 weeks. I'm your host, Elfy, spirit of Hippopotamonstrossus Quipedaliophobia. Joining us this week are Willow,
Spirit of Shenanigans,
and Katie.
Spirit of I need to learn to draw these characters.
So we have like 3 weeks of stuff to talk about, but I just really want to talk about yesterday's episode because it was so good.
It was
Yes,
so
yesterday's episode was certainly a thing.
Yeah.
Finally, we have an episode where Ash isn't totally stressed out.
Ash is a bad. I'm so excited.
This is very interesting development.
Mm-hmm.
I am like 3 parts excited and 6 parts worried for what's gonna happen next. Because like, if she runs into Gregor, there are so many things that can go wrong.
Oh yeah.
All of the things.
We didn't get to see what her mask was this time. The way I figured is the 2 ways it could go next week is either it's the first thing we see or it's the last thing we see. Because it will be we either follow the group and they run into the band somehow, or we follow the band and they run into the group somehow.
Either way, I am extremely excited.
Oh yeah. Any bets on what type of animal Ash's mask is going to be?
I'd say probably wolf.
Yeah, I'm on board for wolf.
Yeah, probably.
If not wolf, then like owl, but there's already a bird, so I feel like that's not in the spirit of it.
Yeah. Like, also, didn't Faust say that, like, Ash's spirit animal would be a wolf, like, on one of the art streams a while
Yeah.
ago?
So I think wolf is up there.
Yeah.
Probably.
And it's great because all the notes I took are from all the other episodes, so it's like I'm completely forgetting all the things I wanted to talk about.
Yay! Professionalism.
Yeah, professionalism indeed. A thing that wasn't mentioned in an episode, but we learned on Twitter, is that Ash stole a Methian ship to get off Meath.
Yes,
Well, that makes sense.
finally we decided to ask Faust about it.
I thought she was gonna be like a stowaway. No, she stole a ship. I love.
Well, to be fair, I think at the point in time when she left, I doubt that they were actually trading with Meath, so, like, it would have been hard for her to stow away on a ship, probably.
True, but they do have like a seafaring lifestyle as far as it's been implied, like a history of piratism and stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me that even if they didn't necessarily like trade often, that they would have at least a fleet of ships for whatever the heck they needed to do, whether it be go pirating or go and settle arrangements. I think it's implied that Ash was gone is either she was gone for 6, and I think that most people interpret that as 6 months. I mean, 6 months is a reasonable time to get trade negotiations up and running. So.
I think there was an email at one point, though, mentioned Ash has been away from Meath for, like, about a year and some change, so 6 months would be the most reasonable assumption.
Yeah, based on the time she's been with the group.
I also just got, like, a mental image of, like, when Ash stole the ship, like, maybe, like, she sold it off just so, like, she didn't need it anymore. So, like, when the Methians are, like, trading and just, like, see, like, hey, that's one of our boats! What the hell?
Oh, I would love to see how that went.
Would you download a ship? Like, literal piratism. There's also the point that just like this is kind of going with the whole Ash talking with Jin a lot, is that like she feels kind of out of place because she's not quite spirit but not quite human. I feel like Ash fits as like the demigod to Jin's god, like falling so far between the two of them that neither one quite fits her.
I suppose. I emailed Faust one time asking him if Ash could technically be considered a half-spirit, but he never got back to me.
I think half-spirit would imply, like, lineage.
Like, actually in your blood being half-spirit, while as Ash, from what we can tell, the spirit is bound to her.
It's kind of the equivalent of like a mage versus a tiefling, where magic is something you like. Yeah, you might possess the affinity for it, but it's something you learn. While like a tiefling has it like literally in their blood to do magic or whatever. Kind of.
Mm, I suppose. I was just thinking, like, from a technical aspect, she could sort of be considered a half spirit, because I mean, like, in a way, kind of thing. I don't know. I'm
Well,
confused.
depending how much there is of the spirit and how much is left to her after using her powers, it could be half and half.
Uh, and now I'm reminded of the thing again, and I'm sad again.
All of the sad, protect Ash, protect the soul.
Ash, why do you keep hurting yourself?
Because the others keep hurting themselves and she needs to fix it.
Who needs mana when you have humanity? It's like Dark Souls.
I don't even get it entirely, but
Like in Dark Souls, humanity is like a currency that you can use to like make yourself stronger. And if you don't have the humanity, you start like turning into a zombie.
wow, that is terrifying.
Oh, and I have several puns to make that are like theoretical episode titles, but the one I really like is after the events in like Jinkala, after the band like invade. Do you think she's going to be banished from the city?
Oh my goodness, that's terrible. That's almost as bad as the band camp one.
The other two I have are just totally smashed because I was gonna use that for the 1 week where she woke up and was like hungover, but that was like 2 weeks ago. And then
It's still perfect.
and then introspection because Jin's name is amazing for puns.
It is. It is like perfect for puns.
But anything you guys want to talk about, so I just don't steal the show the whole time, as I tend to do.
Pally Dan, that book. I swear it is not. It doesn't fit with the canon, I'm pretty sure.
Well, it's more of like a Dr. Seuss kind of thing. Like Dan isn't exactly a like unpopular name.
I know, but like, how many people would come up with that cheesy pun of a name? Like Pally Dan, seriously.
Well, I mean, Thog just came up with Dan, so like, based off the puns you made out earlier, someone like Elfy.
There's at least like 3 characters in this series who've gone by the name Dan so far. That's just the 4th.
Who was the third?
When Don't meets the group for the first time, she asks Marcus if he's Daniel. He goes, "Daniel? Is that you, Daniel?" And it's really cute.
Yeah.
But
I thought about that.
I need to watch the old episode. It's been forever.
the old episodes are so good.
Yeah. And they have don't.
I have a friend of mine who like knows Don't as my stuffed plush thing. So when we sat down to watch, I sat down to watch TI with her, and like, they mentioned pig bats in like the first, like the second episode. She got really excited, and then I was like, she doesn't actually show up for like 15 more episodes, and she got really sad.
Aww.
Aw.
I'm wondering though, like, about in regards to the Ash getting drunk thing, like, did she actually experience a hangover or not? That's what I'm wondering. Because, like, she could be one of those people who's immune to hangovers, or it could have something to do with the spirit.
I'm guessing it's a spirit thing, and also that like the capability to handle a large quantity of alcohol without having like a downside to it probably also manifests in getting rid of hangovers fairly efficiently. Like a natural poison immunity kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess. The mental image of Ash hanging on one of Harlan's training dummies.
Oh god, her trying to climb over the wall while she's hung over already.
Well, the sword made for a convenient foothold.
Like she gets to the top of it and looks down and is like, "Okay, I'm sleeping up here tonight."
Yeah. I think Horvin locked the door too, didn't he?
Probably. So the things I think something I think is really funny is that fog apple extract in Honorin is called God's breath for obvious reasons. But can you imagine Jin making one of like the laser bears while he's drunk? And it's like, and it's a drunk laser bear because it's made out of his breath.
Or it's not actually a bear, it just looks like a bear, but it's not.
Like it's slightly misshapen and it kind of like waddles around uncertainly and then trips and explodes.
it's the little fat confused man, but in spirit bear form.
Yeah.
Or maybe like Jin forgets how a bear is supposed to look, and so it's got like bits from other animals in there too.
Oh lord.
But yeah, God's breath is like the coolest name for that stuff because fog apple extract, it just doesn't sound as cool.
It's like the literal term for it. It's like the fog apple extract is literally what it is, and God's breath is what you put on the shelves to make money.
Well, yeah. But like where we first heard it from was like the person who made it, like for science-y magic studying, and it was just like, yes, this is what it literally is.
Mm-hmm.
I would buy an alcohol called God's breath though. Fog apple extracts, probably not.
I would worry what would be in like a actual version of God's breath.
Something extremely potent that I would probably get drunk off very fast. I get drunk off a cup of wine.
It would have like a legally high proof.
Oh yeah, probably. It'd be like the stuff you get from bootleggers.
Yeah, it'd be like moonshine.
It is the premium moonshine.
It makes you feel like you're walking on air.
Yes.
Oh god, you're literally walking on air. Oh no!
See, that's the kind of thing that a drunk spirit would do, where they just kind of like wander around and like wander off a cliff and just keep floating and are like, yep.
It's like in a Bugs Bunny cartoon when they don't realize they run out of ground.
Or like
except when a spirit does it, they're okay.
Yeah.
True.
Or like those cartoons where there's someone who's like sleepwalking and they like walk into a construction site that are perfectly safe because they keep leaping from thing to thing and everyone's just like risking life and limb to try to get them.
Oh yes, those are the best.
Just mental image of Jin doing that and Ash trying to follow him, just like, God damn it, Jin!
I'm starting to get curious now if Ash actually ended up doing anything crazy while she was drunk between talking to Jin and actually going back to Horvin's backyard.
The nice thing is they won't have photographic proof of it.
This is true. I don't think Kira's figured out how to take pictures yet.
I like to, and I wonder if / when Horvin bailed out of there.
That is a good question.
Probably
When
fairly.
was his bedtime?
It's a question of, was he concerned enough for their safety that he chose to stay, or did he not want to suffer through drunk Jin and left?
I think considering he probably has prior experience with drunk Jin, he probably decided to leave quickly. Also, because he wasn't offered any alcohol himself.
Yeah.
He would have been just like out in like a few sips, considering he's human.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I mean, Marcus was instantly smashed from one sip, but like he's a lightweight.
Yeah, but yeah, it does make you wonder if could a shaman like it invoke spirits for alcohol resistance?
Now that's a good question.
Like, it's technically an enhancement, would be like a poison resistance kind of thing.
I'm just wondering if like the spirits would be willing to go along with this. Like, seriously, man, you want me to come help you out so you don't get drunk.
If I was at the party with you, maybe.
And Norman's like, no, I want to get drunk with my friends. It's a totally different.
Oh, that's the best thing.
I don't think Horvin would, based off the talk he tried to give to Ash after he found out she was drunk.
It's not cool to get drunk, Ash.
You just end up making a fool of yourself.
He has prior experience. Corbin was a kid once too.
Personally, I think there's nothing wrong with making a fool of yourself as long as no one gets hurt, but
Yeah.
I don't know what Horvin thinks. Horvin probably had a bad experience at some point.
Corbin is too sensible to not have had many past experiences that were bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he is one of the most sensible people in Jinkala, I would say.
I think he's one of the most sensible people in the entire series, like, possibly even more so than Thog. Because, I mean, Thog is unnecessarily stubborn sometimes.
Yeah.
And incredibly grouchy.
Horvin does what he can, and sometimes that isn't enough. That's a good question, is Horvin going to be one of the band who goes into Jinkala?
That is a very good question, and I really want to see him be part of the band. But at the same time, I kind of want to see him, like, trying to quote-unquote defend Shinkala. And, like, he is trying so hard not to hurt Ash.
I want to see him run damage control, basically.
He is just swinging his sword to look like he's doing something, but he's not.
Or he'd like when he fought them the first time with the flat side of his blade.
Yeah, I don't know if Ash would very much appreciate getting this flat side of the sword slammed on her head again, especially when she's got a mask on her head. Because that's just going to be things jabbing into the top of her head.
Well, that could be the thing where you incapacitate people by making the mask rattle and everyone, like, clutches their ears and falls to the ground in agony. Except for Ash, who blew her own eardrums out that one time.
Yeah. Actually, that brings up a good question, though, that I was wondering, like, if it's intentional, would Ash actually use the whole fear thing? Because, like, she's experienced it firsthand, but at the same time, she's the kind of person who would also like to use what advantages she can. And I like to think that I have a fairly decent grasp on her character, but this is one of those things I'm like, I have no idea if she would actually do it or not.
I think it would be very scenario dependent. Like, is she fighting for her life? Then, like, totally, yeah. But if in the general scheme of the group is trying to sneak through the city, get by unnoticed, get into the rest plan, get out, almost definitely not. Like, if she runs into the group, I think that would depend on whether she wanted to, like, incapacitate them and then get away, as opposed to, like, having a confrontation or not.
Also, like, if it is intentional, it depends on, like, if she would know how to do it, if they would tell her that or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also true. I'm kind of like, I feel like she would at least hesitate to use it on her friends, though, because, I mean, she knows what it's like, and they know what it's like, and I don't think she'd want to put them through that again, because it's, like, horrible. Extremely, extremely horrible.
At the least, though, it is, like, a short-term, like, you guys are going to be incapacitated while you are in pain, I'm going to flee kind of thing. Like, fight or flight kind of thing. So
instead of just, like, actually attacking and hurting them more.
Yeah, I suppose in that regard it would make sense if she'd use it on them, but I suppose only if, like, they insisted on attacking / stopping her.
Which they probably will, considering Vanguard.
I think Gregor would at least probably insist on at least trying to convince her to stop.
It's going to be the kind of thing where they're going to run into her, double take, and then Marcus is going to go to his default when it comes to people in band math, which is like throw a slate and some chalk her way and be like, write it out, and then everyone is going to remember that Ash's handwriting is like illegible.
Oh yeah.
Marcus is like, oh no, this band's handwriting is illegible.
Seriously though, like, would Gregor recognize her or not? That's what I'm wondering, because, like, probably if she still wore her same clothes, but, like, I'd imagine, like, maybe they'd give her something else to wear to at least, like, sort of hide her identity a bit.
I mean, Horvin doesn't, because everyone in Honorin is, like, really dumb.
They're
when
extremely
it comes
dense.
to dual identities. And I
But,
feel
like-
even if she did wear something else, it would be enough to be like recognizable. Like you see someone, I mean, like he's fought alongside her. He's going to see this band and be like, that band has really similar moves to someone else I know.
Or they can go the silly route and not recognize her at all.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then she has, oh god,
That person looks a lot like Ash.
if she wants to talk with them, she'll have to break the mask. So.
Or ask Horvin to break it for her, because I don't feel like she'd probably have the strength to break the mask on her own, because I mean, it seems to be like a fairly hard thing.
Without also breaking her face with the fist of rock.
Yeah. Considering, like, Zelvetta had a whole bunch of the masks in a giant sack with a bunch of stone masks as well, and they were perfectly fine, so.
They're magic, therefore they're very resistant.
Magic is resistant to stone attacks.
That's like, in this series, everything that, like, can't be, like, well, at least, like, from what people can see, from what we can tell, everything is just explained with magic. Like, oh, why are the masks not able to break? Magic. How is Gregor's armor able to stay on? Magic.
Magic magnets in, like, these specific instances. Like, how does the mask stick to your face? Magic.
Well, to be fair, the mask has, like, that weird black ruff thing on the back, so, like, there could be, like, straps, or, like, the ruff kind of, like, keeps it weighed down, so it doesn't, like, slide off your face as much.
But Horvin does also say that the only way to get the mask off is to break it. Or at least to talk. So, which is why, like, when he was talking to them near Tavillion's Tier, he had to, like, break it, even though, like, he didn't actually take it off.
Well, it could have also been, like, him still attempting to preserve his anonymity. But that brings up a very interesting question for me. Do the bands sleep with the masks on, or do they have to figure out some way to get them off before they go to bed?
I feel like they could if they wanted to, especially because there's probably a multitude of band who are spirits and therefore don't necessarily need to, like, eat or drink or something. But also that, like, they have, like, maybe a stockpile of masks.
Probably.
Or, like, a magical way of removing them, and Horvin just doesn't have, like, the power to do so or isn't good at it.
Or
because
the time.
he is extremely mundane.
Yeah, like, he doesn't want to have to invoke minor spirits every time he wants to take the stupid mask off. And it's easier to just go to Jin and be like, can I have another?
Jin probably gets, like, so annoyed with him for it, though. Like, because he's the only one with a lion mask. Like, how many...
Oh, he does ask, like, what your preference in mask is. So I'm guessing the other ones are more or less either, like, they have the same taste in animals or just the limitations on what Jackson can draw. But, like, I imagine it's kind of like a reward for the work kind of thing. Like, okay, you want to come, you want to go fight, you want to go defend Tavillion's Tier, I will totally give you a mask to do that. Like, a sign of appreciation kind of thing, not just having you go out on your own and get your face caved in.
Yeah, maybe.
Yay.
Let's see what else. I actually have a note left here from before the discussion about is Ash a paladin that just says, is Ash a paladin?
And now we know she is.
I feel like the important distinction between a paladin and a shaman, though, like, obviously this is kind of, like, semantics, and it's kind of, like, in whatever way, but it's more the idea that a paladin channels the might of a spirit in some way, like, kind of the more traditional paladin thing, while a shaman is more one who communicates with spirits, like, to channel their magic.
I suppose, yeah, probably.
Like, a paladin...
Also, I think paladins are probably more inclined to the use of Eos when they can't quite get the volume they require.
Yeah, or they have a single spirit they would depend on as opposed to multitude, but we don't know enough paladins to, like, affirm whether that's true or not.
The memory of finding out what Eos is still bouncing around in my head, and I'm just like, Ash stuck a ton of that into Gregor, and oh my god.
Marcus downed, like, a gallon of it. Like, a liquid gallon.
Yeah, that too. I'm still amazed. Like, he came out of that relatively okay.
I think it was mentioned in an email once that it's like how Jin can sacrifice words or breath to summon like the laser bears. Is the idea of spirit folk can use their own pieces of themselves as spellcasting components, which other people with or without magical capabilities can also do. So it's that kind of vein where it's like they could be okay, but the idea of an Eos farm is literally just grinding up spirits into like is the theoretical idea of grinding up spirits into Eos, and that's kind of creepy.
The fact that Horrivan specifically used the term of a way to turn a spirit into juice just makes me imagine this giant juicer that oh I need to stop imagining these things.
You put wisps into it, and you get a lovely shot of like wisp aid.
It's like one of those like infomercials.
Yeah.
No.
Also, Ash finally got over her like disdain for paladins from the Golem arc of not wanting to be called a paladin to realizing that yes, she is a paladin.
Yeah, technically.
Mm.
We also learned about Ash's like I don't want to say illiteracy because that's not the case, but she's not like totally completely illiterate and
I come from a vocal place was her exact words. So
yeah.
either they have some form of writing that isn't commonly used among most people, or they just go entirely old bardic style. All their stories and knowledge and everything gets passed down through stories and stuff.
I feel like it's the former for a multitude of reasons, at least being that they would need to have some form of written language how they do things. Like you're not always going to be able to I mean like they do communicate with other nations. They do have like you're not always going to be able to send like a vocal message to someone on a ship dozens of miles away. You're
I
gonna send
figured,
like a pigeon with a notice tied to its leg.
yeah, I figure, at least like whoever's in charge of the village or whatever would at least have some sort of knowledge of at least the free written language if they don't have their own. Because, I mean, considering how secretive the place is, I doubt anyone outside of Meath would know what Meathian handwriting is supposed to mean.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, like, if they do have their own means of handwriting, it would be really interesting, actually. Because, I mean, like, Ash has got the bindings. I would imagine that there's, like, some sort of writing process involved in there somewhere.
Possibly. I still
Also,
stand,
that would explain why Ash's handwriting is so bad because she's used to writing in a different language.
or she's not used to writing at all.
Yeah.
Either or, really.
I do have to question, like, this is something I'm going to stand by until we get, like, a hard and fast explanation for it, is that bindings are an arcane thing. What arcane user on me does bindings?
Yeah, I've been curious about that too, actually, because I don't know. To me, Meath seems like the kind of place they wouldn't be too friendly towards anyone with a mage bent. I don't know. That is an extremely good question.
Would it be like a guardian thing?
Maybe. I imagine there's like some sort of ritual involved with that whole thing, though.
The two scenarios for Ash's bindings are either she's born with them, which seems incredibly unlikely for like a dozen reasons, and then there's someone who bound the spirit to her, which is like, okay, how does that happen? Why does the pattern need to exist? Like, why does she have these bindings that are visible on her skin?
Well, they are called bindings, so like there could be some magic like within the ink itself that like keeps the spirit bound to her. Like that's what I've always had canoned, at least for like my stories.
We've also learned some interesting things about her spirit, which is that she at one point uses the phrase "that you're stuck with," which is kind of yeah.
And she hasn't actually been able to communicate with it thus far.
Which is, I'm gonna say sad, because like a lot of us kind of assumed that she could and has, but it's that she's able to draw on this power for so long and can't even like talk to the creature that she's pulling from. She doesn't know what it's like for them. They don't know what it's like for her. Who knows if they've even been talked to in like the last dozen centuries or whatever, however long.
It is extremely sad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or like, what if it's like the spirit can be more or less aware of what it's doing to Ash, and like they don't want her to keep hurting herself because like the way she's doing it is either wrong or like there's a better way for her to do it, but they have no way of communicating with her because she can't communicate with them, and I'm just making myself so sad.
I'm imagining her summoning the hand of moss and stone, and it starts tapping out Morse code.
Like, oh my god, you're doing this all wrong.
Like, a lot of people seem to assume that the spirit is malicious, not like maybe not intentionally, or like even if it is intentionally, it's not something that Ash is like aware of. But we don't even we don't know if she knows if it has a name or not. Like, it
Or I
could just
suppose
be,
had a name.
yeah, or even if it's part of like Median culture. Is it just the guardian who is born with X power? Is it like how focused is the how important to Median society? How well known within Median society is the guardian?
Hmm.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
like,
like
based off, like, the campfire episode, pretty important.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, she did mention like people would come bring gifts and like food and clothes and stuff for her.
True. I need to check something, and now I need to find where it is that I wanted to check it.
Oh.
Okay, never mind.
I am kind of interested in like either school of thought though, like the spirit is malicious or the spirit wants to help her, but like neither of them or just Ash doesn't know how.
Mm. Well, it's kind of either like it was maybe an agreement centuries ago, and the spirit is now bored of this agreement, or it was an agreement centuries ago, and the spirit is upholding its duty, or like for all we know, the spirit isn't even like have a personality. It is just like it's as much of a husk as she's going to be.
Uh,
Oh,
dang it, Elfy, why?
Oh God.
to not use that example, like, I imagine, like, kind of something like Charoff, where they might have a personality, but, like, it at least hasn't come out yet, or at least for a while, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, for all we know, the spirit is purely instinct and doesn't actually like have a character to it, like Charoth or like Telvillian or like any other. But the idea of it being like an artificial spirit in some sense also lends to the idea of what's up with that.
Yeah, I mean, like, for all we know, it could have been, like, somehow created by the Median shamans however many years ago Meath was actually created, or founded, or whatever the word is.
Mhm.
Why are my words failing me? Um, and I forgot what I was gonna say.
Hmm.
uh, yeah, it's gone. It's not coming back.
I have a thing I could talk about, and then Raven can't yell at me because normally whenever I bring up Zelvetta, she yells at me.
I say talk about Zelvetta. Zelvetta's interesting.
Awesome. So I'm like, I've gone from like I was like 300% sure or something that he's the half spirit kid, and I've hit like 1,000% sure.
Yeah,
Like,
the more you talk about it, the more I think so too.
ha!
I really haven't seen anything, so I'm just like, I don't know.
Well, like,
Sure.
he has an extensive knowledge of the band, which could be said for his constant interaction with them. But at the same time, like rewatching an older episode, he does know that there is like multiple Jins because when Gregor is like, I want to go talk to the band leader, Zelvetta says, you don't want to talk with this one.
Ooh.
Which is both scathing and also true, kind
Hmm.
of. Like,
Yeah.
considering,
Plus, it would also explain his freaky ability to just disappear.
yeah, stuff like that. And, um, Jay said we're going to find out what's up with Zelvetta's robes at some point during this arc, which, like, I mean, why are you wearing robes, Zelvetta? What is their purpose? Like, my current theory is that it's that he doesn't want to be, like, the whole thing with the Honorians not recognizing, like, someone beneath a mask is that kind of thing, but I'm not so sure about that. Also, there was, like, when he spoke to Gregor about Honorians, he almost spoke as if he wasn't Honorian. Like, he said these Honorians are so wrapped up in their own stupid skulls, and it kind of sounded like he was foreign for a bit, and that's like, is he from Honorant? And it's maybe not that he's necessarily not from Honorant, it's that he was not raised Honorian because he's not fully human.
My personal theory for the whole robes thing is mostly Tiny Murder Ninja is too adorable to be taken seriously without them.
I just like had a question. Like, I assume like you mean the person Jin was talking about the episode before.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, if that's the case, like, who was the person that changed his life, and where are they?
Yeah, eventually
That
the
is a
young
very
lad
good
met
question.
someone who changed his life as a whole. Like, what leads the person who was raised by the band, raised by spirits, to be so enthusiastic about murdering them?
To be fair, at least in just the straight murder aspect of it, the band do seem to kill a lot of people, so at least that would be where he gets his lack of remorse for killing from.
Like, he actively, like, he enjoys killing the band specifically. Like, he hunts them out for fun. He collects their masks for fun. He wanted to face Jin, or, like, Jin's breath for some reason. And Adorable Murder Ninja was actually, like, trying to get him to talk to Gregor, which I love.
Actually, you know what I'm most looking forward to in the next episode is if Gregor runs into Jin. It's like either Jin wants a rematch with Gregor for the arm wrestling, or Gregor's just gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you're the guy arm wrestled and beat," and Jin's just gonna be all huffy about it.
Well, it's like, they wouldn't even recognize him at first because he felt like the giant ghost breath thing that doesn't look even remotely like this Jin. It's be like, oh, this is Jin. What? No, it's not. What I thought was like a blue laser bear. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I
Well.
can do that.
Still, the idea of Jin like just acting all huffy and upset that he lost an arm wrestling match to a human, even if it was just one of his little breath spirit things.
The thing I'm most interested in seeing is like, okay, obviously the thing with the band is going to go down wrong somehow. It has to.
Oh yeah.
So
It's the law of storytelling.
Are they going to run into Zelvetta? What is Zelvetta going to do, considering he murders Ben for fun?
Oh yeah, I'm worried about that. Like, if he sees Ash, like, I am really worried.
Is it he's going to recognize her, or is he going to be with Gregor, and Gregor is going to be like, oh, maybe don't kill that one with the green outfit. Maybe please, Zelvetta, please don't do that. Or is it going to be like, is Jin going to be there? Is Jin going to be wearing a mask? Are Zelvetta and Jin going to have some kind of talk, and we're going to find things out?
There's so many ways that this could go.
Personally, like, I imagine just like Jin like is going to like not be like in his usual outfit, like possibly, like I said before, like some sort of like thing to hide at least his face, possibly a mask or something, because like basically he's going to like to be and act differently, because like this is important. This is stopping the spirits from being sealed to the ground ever again. This is serious time now. No more decorative flower things, guys. This is serious.
There is, during the war in Iocho, the Battle of Iocho, whatever, Zeke mentions that Jin's like breath says that the band he sent to Iocho were far from his elite. So is this going to be his elite?
Ooh.
That is a good question. This is a very important mission.
Yeah, like
also a risky one, so like either he has them not go because it's risky, or he sends them intentionally, so more thing for success.
My guess is it'd be the kind of divide 50-50 or 75-25, whatever. Like, okay, you stay here to guard the village as you always do. We're gonna go in and fuck stuff up.
I
Yeah.
really want to I mean, it's possible that it's not going to work, that the plan's not going to work, but I just want to know what would happen if it did.
Third Wheel, 2 minutes ago, just posted the December supplement.
Yeah, I just got the email too.
Oh god.
I am seriously curious what's in there.
It's Marcus Malafi stuff. Oh god.
Yay!
I'm so excited.
I am extremely excited.
I need to be a Patreon, at least for patron, for at least for a bit, while I can.
Oh yeah, it's all... Maybe we'll finally figure out what's up with the numbering system year-wise.
Yeah, maybe. There's gotta be some sort of logic behind it that we can figure things out.
Falling Star Arcane Journal. Anyway. We will cover that next week when I actually have time to read it.
Yay!
It'll be right after this podcast, honestly.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is on my list. Also, what would lead the half-spirit kid, who we are going to assume is Zelvetta, to not be raised by their parents?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Did one of them, maybe die when he was born or sometime, shortly after he was born or something, and, the other one didn't want to take care of him, or... So many possibilities.
Based off, what Jin said, I imagine just, whoever, the spirit was, the spirit parent is just Jin, I don't know what to do. You do this. Did you handle this? I don't know. What?
You're the one in charge of life and rebirth and stuff. You deal with this.
There is we did get stuff on half spirits from on the Tumblr that accumulates.
Oh yeah, I emailed Jay about that a while back. Something about can humans and spirits have kids together, and then he gave me that whole spiel on half spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're not incredibly common, but they are more common than new spirits.
Mm-hmm. Most tend to favor their spirit ancestors, taking on more divine appearances and shaping domains of their own. But others favor their human blood, displaying little more than an aura of strength or perhaps minor supernatural features.
Like teleporting.
I think disappearing into thin air counts as supernatural features.
I don't think that's teleporting so much as it is stealth.
Extreme, scary stealth.
Turning invisible. Stealth. Becoming one with the shadows. You might just have, the one ability that they always say you can't have in Pathfinder, where it's you have the ability to hide in plain sight, so long as there's a shadow. And it always specifies you can't hide in your own shadow. What if that's just what Zelvetta does? Is he hides in his own shadow?
How? Oh, maybe someone sometimes, if that's what it is, someone sometimes is just staring at the floor. All of a sudden they see this random shadow with nothing apparently casting it, and they're just what the heck? And all of a sudden Zelvetta.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be I would say the smart way. It would be a sensible way to explain what it is he's doing, short of actually just turning invisible, which seems kind of lackluster considering the whole ninja thing.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily know if he's always melds into shadows so much as just turns invisible and or requires shadows to do what he does.
What if his spirit parent was some kind of chameleon type spirit?
That's the other question is, okay, what's his parentage? Who was was one parent some know nothing human who never amounted to anything? What was he? What was the spirit parent of? Was it a spirit of death? Is that why he enjoys killing people?
Who even knows? The thing is, Jay never made it extremely clear about the rules for powers for half spirits. What did he say? I'm trying to find the email now.
It's on the blog. Is the third thing down, so it's not hard to find.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything about like what sort of powers a half spirit might tend to inherit, like if their powers have anything to do with their parents or not.
It does mention that that sometimes they won't, that they take on more divine appearances and shape domains of their own kind of thing, but that doesn't necessarily, like, even just a theoretical full spirit kid, we don't know what they'd be capable of. Like, we know that spirits, when they reincarnate, can change, like, their abilities. Like, sometimes they will become more powerful or less powerful. So,
I mean, for all we know, like, half spirit children could just like pick their own domain and just sort of build up powers based on that.
yeah. I
'Cause,
assume
I
it
mean,
would have to be
humans
related in some aspect to their parentage, though. Like, if you have a
probably.
parent who deals entirely in, like, fire magic, you're not going to be, like, a god of the sea. Like, that's not a thing you're going to do.
Yeah, that would be insane. Yeah, it's something I've always been wondering about because in my ongoing fan fiction thing, it's like I have this one character as a half spirit, and I'm like trying to figure out like her spirit parents' powers and then how those relate to her powers, and just like what are the rules? Dang it!
Spirits are a wacky bunch.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I started reading the supplement. Oh,
Oh,
Lord. We have 2 articles from the late protagonist M. Feltweller, an intriguing first-hand account of Golden Age magic translated by Evangeline Gritzstrade and... Who? Jeremy, come here, please. Good. Okay, now who or what is a Marcus Velocity, and how did he get into my journal?
I don't care if I signed off on it last night. I was half dead from sleep deprivation, and this looks nothing like the outline I provided you with earlier. This is gonna be fun to read.
Yes. I'm so Matthew C. editor. She I wonder who that could possibly be. I wonder what person we know with the name of Matthew C. that could be the editor of
I have no idea.
Not a clue. These guys are the best.
Alright, anyway, let's get back on track. We also had the holiday special dealing with the intricacies of tax goat ship. And also
All right.
that apparently
yes.
some epic level campaign, I'm sure, will be going to break into the Vault of Wonders and finally kill Zev and Scalburn.
Yeah, probably. Though that'd probably be a long way from now, considering Thog was quite adamantly against the dealing with his Savin Scalburn.
Yeah, but Zev and Scalburn is like the most powerful man in Alaron. Like, he controls the Vault of Wonders. That's what his magic does. He's control the Vault of Wonders.
Can you like just imagine though, like all the political fallout that would happen after he gets killed? Like all of Alaron would be in complete turmoil.
Well, it would also depend on what happens to the vault, because he has like a mask or whatever that allows you to control the vault, and it's like, oh, what do you do with that? Do you break it? Does the Fox King show up and be like, oh, hey, you killed the guy who runs my vault. Thank you. I will be taking this back now.
Wait a minute. Wasn't the first level like destroyed in like the other live stream? How did they get in?
They like flooded it or whatever.
Oh right, that was like, was that an emergency system or was that just a thing?
I think that's an emergency system because like they had a lot of artifacts running wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the one.
So probably back to normal-ish. Still a little damp
relative normality.
So just like that is a thing, and that Seven Skullburn is somehow tied into tax goats. See, they're the oh god, I can't even remember what the conversation I had that led to this. But the other night, I just remember being like, if tax goats are the Alarani gods of possession and repossession, what is the god of contracts like? Oh, it was would the god of contracts be Cube from Madoka?
Oh god! Oh god, no, please! No.
Kill it. Killing it with fire.
I feel like that's exactly what it would be.
No.
Probably something like that.
I don't need that nightmare fuel again.
I also want to draw a Fog like sitting in a chair stroking Cupid like a cat.
Oh my god.
Why would he do that? Dog is chill.
It's adorable.
And Thog loves contracts. Oh my god. That's the most adorably horrifying thing ever.
Yeah, it's great.
Elfy, you're
It's
terrible.
not great.
It's great.
You know what Jay's gonna do now, right? He's gonna do something to mess with us that'll somehow involve something along those lines.
There's just going to be a weird cat thing on the side of the road.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see. And there's, if we want to get back onto what happened in yesterday's episode, there is the, of course, important like logistics that I'm still questioning, and I made like a bullet point thing yesterday, but I'm too lazy to go search for it. Is like, okay, so we have in like a mixture of progression and results, we have Narn goes to the Shrouded Isles. While on the Shrouded Isles, breaks into the Fox King's manor and acquires a horn of the Fox King's rival that she presumably had as like a trophy. Sometime later, ends up in Honorant. Who did Narn charter a boat? I have so many questions. Somehow ends up in Honorant, apparently not affecting any of the multitude of spirits on the Shrouded Isles, because I'm sure we would have heard about that otherwise. And that, I think it was also mentioned that Killo knew that they were there. But Narn ends up in Honorant, does the whole death and disaster thing, and that the horn they took can be presumed to be the horn of Chiron, former head of the Lily clan. That the Fox King knew that Narn was taking the horn and wanted them to have it, because if she didn't, obviously she would have been like, "Hey, that's my horn. I will fight you for it," or something, or set up something where, like, there was the implication that she is okay with them having the horn. That fails. What happened to the horn? Why did the Fox King want Narn to go there, especially considering the apparent power of the Zeth? Like, as a race?
I'm just wondering, does this mean that Chiron is one of the spirits locked away in the seal?
I think it can be presumed such because Chiron was slain by, like, the head of the people leading
The then head of the Lily clan.
Well, he was head of the Lily clan. He was slain by the guy in the white or whatever who was leading the Great Iconoclasm, which is what happened to all the other spirits. So yes, it can be presumed that Chiron was also locked away with a bunch of other spirits. So it's like, what? But unlocking Chiron would unlock other spirits? So why did Narn specifically need Chiron's horn? What was it to track them? But I don't see why they would need that.
It probably has like some sort of special ability that we don't know about. I mean, otherwise, what's the point in having it at all, really?
Yeah, and it didn't come up at all when Narn was in Giancarlo. Like they didn't have it on their person, it seemed, and they didn't use it for anything.
Maybe like he was like for the day we're like using it to like find the seals in the first place.
That could be possible.
Possibly.
I'd imagine like maybe it's kind of like some sort of an Iron Giant-ish type thing, like the pieces sort of call to the whole sort of thing.
Like Horn like either like shows some sort of way to Chiron, which would be present in all three seals, so none was just like, go there.
Or kind of like with the deck of disaster cards, it's like you just sort of feel this general pull towards the place once you get close.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of those cards coming back, by the way.
I am interested in seeing if they will, and I will tentatively say excited if they will.
They tried to burn them, but they just kept popping up in the boat.
And a
And they
bird
just
flew
gave
away
Rat
with one.
fake cards.
There was one bird that had one, which probably flew off somewhere with it.
Yeah. I'd like to think in a distant future, Ash is going to get a letter, and she's going to open it, and it's going to have a card, and she's just going to stare in horror.
Or there will be lots of screaming.
I feel like somehow that would be Ian's fault.
Oh, probably.
Well, I mean, like, wouldn't it, like that wouldn't work, though, because you need to draw it at random, and if you see that it's a card, then you know what's on the card, and it's no longer random.
Well, if it's the only one, it's still sort of random.
I don't
Maybe.
think it was necessarily needed for them to be random, considering the guy they fought had a bunch of cards, and he could, like, pick which ones he was using.
Huh.
Like, he
No,
drew the boat one, went away on a boat. He drew the sword to summon an energy sword. Like, he didn't need a... It wasn't like, oh damn, I drew the wrong card, I'm going to draw again. It was, I have the hunter. Fear my unbreakable blade.
I think he mentioned something though about like they were having bad luck with their cards, whereas he was so far having some pretty good luck with them.
Might have been
Under
that
his clothes, he just had a plethora of good luck charms.
or he picked out the cards he needed and just put the rest away somewhere else.
You know what I bet would have happened? Rat said that he had taken out some of his particularly favorite cards from the deck.
Yeah.
So he probably left all the not so bad ones in the main deck.
Yeah, and then he had
And then
those.
all the horrible ones were in his pouch.
Mhm.
Other than Kier's one.
Oh, yeah. That one was funny.
And kind of Gregor's-ish.
It was horrible in that it was the wrong person to give it to.
Yeah.
Then again, Ash probably wouldn't have been the best person to give it to either, since she has trouble reading. Unless it has, like, some sort of magic that, like, allows her to be able to read it despite her troubles with written language.
Well, I mean, like, it says constantly peanut butter, so it probably has magic to help you read it.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like, with the book, I imagine, like, it's kind of what the person reading it wants to think is true. It's not actually the truth, but, like, in Gregor, like, he obviously doesn't know what's going to happen, but based off his personality and his thought process, this is what he would want to, like, hear, basically.
I think the book is just, like, the ultimate troll thing.
It's the Book of Oracles. That's what it was called.
Because, I mean, I remember on one of the end cards, it said Gregor learned Marcus's bust size, and every time I look at that, I'm just like, what does that even mean?
It also is somewhat, I don't want to say funny, but it's, I guess, ironic in that in, like, an earlier episode at one point, Ash was surprised that Gregor could read and write.
Oh, yeah, that was in the, I think in the fan art fridge that was brought up.
It was before that. It was an actual episode. It was like, you know how to read, Gregor? You know how to read and write? And he looks at her and is like, are you kidding with me right now? I want to say it's sometime they're dealing with contracts and Bog. I'm not sure. Probably Shrouded Isles.
Probably. Somewhere around there.
Yeah. So, what do we think is going to happen next episode?
I think there's going to be, like, obviously, like, the band is going to try to advance towards the column thing, and the guards, well, at least Gregor is eventually going to realize, hey, there's stuff going on. He is going to go enthusiastically, and Marcus and Inian and anyone else they can find are going to go less enthusiastically with them. Possibly confrontations. Also, people realizing that Onrit may not be the best place to live with all the shit that's been going on.
I'm most interested in seeing how Inian reacts, and I'm most interested in seeing how, like, I guess Zelveta, but, like, Gregor reacts. Like, Inian is my favorite idea just because, like, what is she going to say if she sees Ash as a man? How is she going to react to that? Is she going to be angry or exasperated or just like, I saw this coming?
And just, whatever.
Is she gonna be like the rest of us? Like, I saw this coming.
Lots of insanity and possibly yelling. Lots of yelling. And
That's just TI.
Yeah. Probably me crying over Ash some more because that seems to be a theme lately.
That is the secondary title for this arc.
Yelling about Ash a lot.
Well, crying.
That would be really
Yelling
good.
and crying.
That's another good title, Ashes to Ashes.
Ah.
Wasn't that one used already at some point?
I think I've made the joke before, but I don't think I've actually titled an episode that yet. I have to check.
Yeah, I'm I'm tempted to suggest what Neff keeps saying, like this week on Willow cries over Ash. That it doesn't really apply for this week because Ash is actually happy this week.
Yay.
Ash is about to fuck stuff up next week. But what we were
Yes.
last night in chat, it was something like what were we saying?
Weren't you making Jin puns?
Yes, but it was also like this is the best plan and also the worst plan because it's like there are better ways to go about this. So while it's possible to see Ash's reasoning, it's also like Ash, really? If you'd like to listen to more episodes of the podcast, you can find us at spiritfolksaturdays.tumblr.com. If you want to join the TI Skype chat, feel free to shoot us an ask with your Skype name. We'd be happy to have you. Thanks for listening. We'll see everybody next week. Bye.
Bye.